just to say I am very pleased to have been asked here to the golf club this evening for the launch party for the documentary film work that's being carried out and will be carried out by Michael and Danny. The power of sports, I think, was really very well understood by the late Nelson Mandela, and I was looking some time ago at a slideshow in Sports Illustrated that was centred on some of his association's sport events. One of the striking images was that of Mandela's embrace of Francois Pienaar after South Africa defeated New Zealand in the Rugby World Cup. Other slides, by the way, in that collection show Mandela posing with sports giants such as Tiger Woods, Don King and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the last shot, as I remember, it shows him in one of his last public appearances being driven on the field, smiling and waving during the 2010 World Cup. He once famously said on this team, "Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sport can create hope where once there was only despair. It is more powerful than government in breaking down racial barriers." Now, reconciliation is largely about communication on the one hand and justice on the other. Sport addresses communication for reconciliation in an effective, but in a very subtle manner, I think. In sport, people can find a forum to talk and empathise in what's essentially a neutral environment. South Africa is a particularly interesting case in point in relation to sports, I think. It has made deliberate efforts to transform the sports sector through national development programmes. The government has explicitly linked sports to development and reconciliation, which was the stated goal in the 1994 Reconciliation Development Programme. Impressive amounts of research have been undertaken on reconciliation in South Africa, with a particular focus on Truth and Reconciliation Commission and grassroots initiatives. In Ireland, we have followed with close interest and learned from experiences in this part of the world around paths to healing and initiatives at breaking down historical harmful barriers. I myself had the privilege to serve our Minister for Foreign Affairs at the time, David Andrews, as his special advisor during the last year of the negotiations that led to the historic signing of the Good Friday Agreement in Belfast in April of 1998. Through that process, many issues that can be associated with solving major political differences, few, such as flags, symbols, language, community and sports organisations, and ways of delivery of public service, come in for some very detailed analysis along the path to that agreement. And I can tell you we spent many long nights, hours into the early hours of the morning discussing those issues, and it's amazing how long one can talk for about a flag. With more than 3,000 deaths in Northern Ireland's Troubles, as some colloquially refer to them at home, many people still have very painful memories and a deep resentment about the lack of closure on some unsolved murders, and that issue came to the fore again in a very prominent political way just 2 weeks ago in Ireland. Consequently, a legacy commission similar to the South African Truth and Reconciliation Commission has been mooted, and such a process has already begun with the creation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission for Ireland and Britain in 2006 by the International Institute of Peace Studies and Global Philosophy. We found over the very long period of time that we spent grappling with our difficulties that many parallels could be found with issues of discrimination in this part of the world. There were many exchange visits. Recently, I was reading an account by the BBC journalist Fergal Keane, sure you know him, Michael, on a report he was preparing, which carried the title Truth and Reconciliation from Belfast to Cape Town. Now, they may be 7,000 miles apart, but they're very close in many ways. He describes how in a place once tormented by political violence, an extraordinary group had come together. On a coach trip during his visit and research for his piece, a former senior IRA man was chatting to a police officer, That police officer was from a security force, which was formerly a target of the IRA man. Sitting close by in the coach, a top policeman from Ireland and a former loyalist prisoner from Northern Ireland were also chatting. So we have come a long way. But the links on this subject with Ireland run long and deep. Cadar Asmal and Desmond Tutu were household names at home in Ireland. There was also an extraordinary event which gained huge media attention and captured the attention of all Irish people prior to the abolition of apartheid. These were the events surrounding an infamous strike, or I think in this part of the world it's called a stay away, by checkout staff at a major supermarket chain. And they had refused to handle the South African fruit produce which was being sold in those stores in Ireland at the time. Like South Africa, Ireland is a country whose people are passionate about their sport, whether it be our own national games or our international sports representatives. Sport can break down many barriers. South Africa has shown its commitment, I think, to do just that. I should just mention in passing that I had the honour to meet the first South African black international player, Chester Williams, on a return flight here just a while ago. I know he's continuing through coaching to make his contribution to sport and to reconciliation. Finally, could I commend the work that Michael and Danny are doing through the medium of this documentary, with the focus on a golf team, and I think there's something about a glass roof that I heard about, to raise awareness about the many issues around peace and reconciliation. I wish them both very well. I wish them every success in their endeavours with this, and while Anna and I will be leaving shortly, we'll be following progress from Ireland, and while I am at home attempting to improve my golf handicap, but we'll see how that goes. But just finally to say, I wish to thank Michael and Danny very much for the opportunity to speak here this evening, to draw some analogies between our experience in Ireland and experiences here in this region, and again, as I say, to wish you very well in the endeavours. Céile Bóthe.